This is the Independence Blue Cross Monday Night Kickoff Show, a weekly recap of your Philadelphia Eagles. Broadcasting live from Hard Rock Cafe in Philadelphia, tonight's show is brought to you by Penn Community Bank, Hard Rock Cafe, Philadelphia, Independence Blue Cross, The Capitol Grill, Rob's Automotive and Collision, and BCWSA. We now go live to the Hard Rock Cafe in downtown Center City, Philadelphia for the Independence Blue Cross Monday Night Kickoff Show. Now, here are your hosts, Paul Jolovitz and Paul Domowitch.
And welcome everybody to the WBCB Monday Night Kickoff, live from the beautiful Hard Rock Cafe. It's a little bit rainy, a little bit not, a little bit indecisive as to whether the World Series game will be played. Our show is going on here from the Hard Rock Cafe, recapping the Eagles last week. This is the Independence Blue Cross Monday Night Kickoff. I'm Paul Jolovitz, along with Paul Domowitch. Domo, Mike Quick is our guest. He'll get here in a few minutes, having a little traffic trouble. Big game for the Eagles yesterday, but we are a football show. Yeah, it's about time for people to make the decision on whether to play this World Series game or not and stop screwing around with the fans. What's your view on that?
Well, I mean, they would like to get it in. I mean, I think it's 90-10. They're going to cancel, but they're going to wait until 6:30. I know it's an inconvenience for some people that are already going to be on their way down, but that's the way big sports operates.
What they don't want to have happen, obviously, is to start the game, have a pitcher go an inning, cancel it, and then the pitcher's not available for 4 or 5 days. So we'll see. But
yeah,
obviously the World Series tied at 1. People are geeked up in this town about that. And a certain football team, Domo, that we're here to talk about, that's 7-0. The Eagles are just a workmanlike win yesterday, 35-13. No plays in the red zone in the first half, yet they scored 4 times. More fireworks in the second quarter. A.J. Brown, 3 touchdown passes from Jalen Hurts, 25 yards or further. Big day for A.J., who got drug tested this morning, told us about some $100 bills. Interesting day for A.J. Brown, but on the field, very interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I think they ended up with 6 20-plus yard pass plays, 4 of them for touchdowns.
Not bad.
The previous 3 games, they had Jalen had thrown 1 pass that traveled 20 yards in the air because he was seeing a lot of zone. They were taking what people were giving them. Pittsburgh played a lot of man, and they went after him. I mean, they went deep. And
Jalen made the throws. A.J. Brown went up and got him. We found out a lot about A.J. Brown this morning. One, that he got drug tested. He wasn't sure it was random. They test 10 players after every game, and you have a big game, you tend to be drug tested. What did he do yesterday? Wear springs in his shoes? I mean, I don't know what he could have done, but he tapes $100 bills, Tom. Every time he has a 100-yard game, which he did yesterday, 156 yards, his biggest game as a pro, tapes $100 bills under his jersey, inside his shoulder pads. You surprised an enterprising defensive back may not want to cover him but rob him?
Yeah. That's a strange tradition, but everybody's got their eccentricities, right?
Everybody's got them, and the Eagles 35-13. Thursday night they play the Houston Texans in Houston, a game in which obviously the Eagles are going to play on a night that the World Series is off, or will they be? If they cancel tonight's game, they'll probably replay it Thursday night here, causing a problem for Philadelphia fans. As to both games, Philadelphia media, I'm not sure national media, national TV makes decisions based on one city, but these 2 teams are playing in every sport, it seems like, under the rainbow. You think the Philadelphia and Houston connection has anything to do with a TV decision, which is really a TV decision? Major League Baseball is making this decision based on Fox, and they don't want to stop and start the whole night. But you know what I mean. Any cross-pollination decision?
Yeah, I mean, tonight is just, they want to get it in. The worst thing that can happen to a World Series is to start it and then not be able to finish it, especially for a team, like the Phillies with limited. I mean, that would just destroy their pitching situation. So, I don't think Thursday comes into play as far as whether they care that the Eagles are playing Houston or not. It's just a matter of whether they think they can get the game in today, and I ultimately think they're going to realize they can't.
If word comes over, we'll give it to you. They said they're going to decide about 6:30. This is about the 11th deadline they've had tonight. I'm guessing they're going to cancel it too. We have our guest here tonight that we love. I worked with him in the booth with Merrill and Mike for many years. 25th year as the Eagles color commentator with Merrill Reese. They talked about him on the TV broadcast yesterday. And I talked to Mike earlier today. I told him that A.J. Brown tapes hundreds inside his shoulder pads. Mike taped him inside his hip pads. First, welcome.
$1 bills, right?
Welcome to the show, buddy. And a lot to talk about with A.J. Brown yesterday, huh?
Well, Jolly, first of all, glad to be here with you guys.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, there's a lot to talk about with this football team. There's a lot going on. AJ was great yesterday, and not just AJ. This thing has just gotten on track and doesn't seem to have a derail point at this point.
Is that more due to the schedule, to the Eagles, both? How do you see that?
Come on, man.
Well, they got an easy schedule, period. And
Well,
it's hard to win every game no matter who you play.
Well, they have to play the teams that are on their schedule.
I'm not saying they're not very good. Just
And the teams, I think all of the teams are good. That's the issue that I have. You know, I know how hard it is to do what they do, and I know that when you look at this Eagles roster, it's better than most rosters around the league. And if they can stay healthy, continue to do what they're doing, we're just going to continue to have fun in Philadelphia, even after next week and the Phillies finish doing what they're doing.
Mike, talk about the trust factor between a receiver and a quarterback like Jalen and AJ seem to have right now, where, I mean, that first touchdown, I mean, he threw it in a good place, but he knew AJ was going to go get it in that place.
Yep.
I mean, what do they have special? And did you experience that when you played with Jaws?
I think what we saw was just a lot of confidence that he has in the wide receiver, in A.J. Brown. And when you give guys opportunities like that, and especially when you know he's covered, you know that the safety's coming over, it's possibly double coverage, but A.J.'s going to make the catch.
Well, the
That's
safety's
the
an
high
all-pro,
side.
by the way.
What happened?
The safety's an all-pro, Minka Fitzpatrick.
Oh, Minka Fitzpatrick, he's one of the best back there in all of football.
Yep.
So you know the guys. Well, Jalen played with him at Alabama. They used to compete to get extra duties after practice.
Yep.
But when you know that your wide receiver is going to either catch the ball, he's going to make sure that you're not intercepted. It's going to be an incompletion at worst. He could possibly even get interfered with. When you know that you have that type of player, you're going to give him opportunities. Jalen's giving him opportunities, and he's making Jalen look good in those opportunities. And when you have that, it'll continue to happen for a quarterback. Yes, I did have that. Jaworski knew that if he threw the ball in my area, that if I don't catch it, I'm going to make sure that he's not intercepted, that the ball is not going to go to the other side. And Randall knew that as well. I didn't mind going up fighting for the football. And when the quarterback has that, you're going to see a lot more big plays. I was happy to see that they threw the ball down the field more in this game than they have in past games.
Right, they hadn't gone down the field. Obviously, the touchdown passes, Jalen had 6. He got 4 more yesterday. How long did it take with Jaws, with Randall? People have asked me, say, Devontae Smith, is he going to develop this rapport? Obviously, I have no idea. He's not a big physical receiver like A.J. is, but is that something that takes years? Is it something that could take a couple weeks? Obviously, it's different for everybody. Would you expect Devontae to develop that with Jalen as well?
I think Devontae's going to have big games this year. Maybe not 3 touchdown, 100 and what do you have? 160 something.
156. Yep.
Yeah. I don't know if he'll have that type of game, but he's going to have games where he really shines, where he draws the right coverage, right timing, and the ball gets downfield to him. He has no problem running by people. I think too often early, some guys are getting their hands on him, disrupting his route, and he's not like AJ. AJ's a 230-pound man, and it's hard to knock him. For a defensive back, safety, or corner, it's hard to knock him off of his mark and off of his path. He's so strong, and he plays through the contact so well. And, you know, Devontae's 170 pounds, so he's going to get pushed from time to time. But great route runner, smooth route runner, catches the ball well. He'll have his days.
How much of their decision to stretch it out yesterday had to do with the coverage they saw from Pittsburgh as opposed to the previous 3 games. I think the previous 3 games, Jalen threw 1 pass longer than 20 yards in those games, and they were seeing a lot of zone in those games.
Combination of things, I do believe. I think it was having the time off and having the time, that bye week, to really look at what they were doing internally, but then also looking at the Pittsburgh Steelers and the issues that they've had at the cornerback spot, particularly on the left corner. They've had a lot of guys in and out on that left cornerback spot. And when they're playing single coverage and they saw a lot of single coverage, they did exactly what they should do, take shots at that cornerback position.
Mike, you played a while in this league, 7, 8 years.
A while ago.
A while ago? A while? You should be in the Hall of Fame.
I played 9 years.
Played long enough? 9 years?
Yeah. Well, whoa. I played 8 years. I stole a year at the end when I really couldn't play anymore.
Well, we can talk about stealing with your contract, which is one of the greatest contracts ever signed. If you know Bobby Bonilla is, you sign a contract like Bobby Bonilla, which every human being on this planet wishes they had done. The gift that keeps on giving. This is a game this Thursday night. To me, road Thursday night games are ridiculous. They shouldn't even be played, but they are. So, Eagles going to Houston, a team that's not very good, coached by Lovie Smith. I happen to think this is a really bad spot for the Birds. They're coming off a bye. Obviously, they're going to have another mini bye. But you're undefeated, and teams tend to lose games that you don't expect them to lose when they're undefeated. I don't think they're going to lose this week, but they got to be very careful. Their veterans have to take that locker room and say, we think we're going to buzz by these guys. They're going to come out firing. You got 1 day of practice. Do you agree? Like, Minnesota, to me, was the greatest spot in the world. Thought they'd kill Minnesota. I think on the converse, this is going to be a very difficult game. What do you think?
I just don't quite see it that way.
Okay.
I like the way these guys go about their business. They are a better football team. They will say that within themselves, that they know that they are a better football team. They have a better roster, but that's not going to win the game. You win the game by the way they go about their business, the way they go to work every day and try and get, as coaches speak, a little bit better each day. And if they continue, and that's what they do. It's amazing to me how the comments after games, they're 6-0 and they're 7-0, and the comments after the game from the leaders like Jalen Hurts is that we're not there yet. Right. We've not peaked. What he says is, we left money on the table. Yep. He has all these little sayings, and one of them is that we left money on the table, meaning that we could have played a lot better. There's a lot out there that we didn't get, opportunities that we had that we didn't cash in on. And when you hear Jalen Hurts saying that, when you hear the leaders on your team saying that, that matters. Also, when you hear guys who are veteran guys, like a Fletcher Cox or Brandon Graham, repeating things that the quarterback, Jalen Hurts, says.
Young guy.
Then you know that everybody's kind of buying into where this thing is going.
Domo, I love that. I love the fact they're buying into what a young guy's saying. I love teams that are never satisfied. Everything, Nick Sirianni has his team's mental makeup, I think, in fine tune. I think he's coaching X's and O's great. Everything's looking rosy for this team except for special teams. We'll talk about that a little bit later.
Do we have to?
Well, I heard somebody today say, is Michael Clay's job safe? I don't think he's going anywhere, but when you fake 2 punts in 3 weeks and they both work and your return game's going nowhere, I might as well ask you now, we're just short of our first break, what the hell's wrong with the special teams?
You already touched on it. I think they have to be better coached. I think you have to be ready for all of these type situations, and you have to have a plan in place. You have to expect that teams have to pull out all the stops and all of the things that the unexpected, that can't be. You have to expect in situations like that there's a possibility, and you have to game plan for those possibilities. Yeah. And you have to have your stops in place for those possibilities.
All right, we're going to take, Donald, hold that thought for a second. We're going to take a quick break and come back. We have a little bin up here. A lady came up earlier celebrating with her sister who's going to have a procedure. Hopefully everything goes well with her. Enter to wear a pair of Eagles tickets for the Eagles and Packers game Sunday, November 27th. No purchase is necessary. Just submit your name, phone number, and email on your business card for a chance to win. The bin is right up here. Happy hours every Monday through Friday here at the Hard Rock from 5 to 7. $1 off Bud Light, Sam Adams, and Blue Moon Drafts. $6 House Chardonnay and Merlot. $5 Smirnoff and Cruise In-Room single liquor drinks. $7 for doubles. And you can double your sports talk final week, because this is the World Series. No more baseball next week, but we had the baseball show Monday at 12 o'clock earlier at noon today. Our football show, Talk Phillies playoff run. The Eagles road to victory while enjoying some great food and our happy hour specials here at the Hard Rock Cafe, where we're back with the Independence Blue Cross Monday Night Kickoff right after this. Stay with us.
Hard Rock Cafe in Center City at 12th and Market Streets has it all. Great food takes center stage with dine-in and pickup available. Their burgers are so famous, they have their own chauffeurs. So order delivery and catering too. So if you're celebrating or just getting the band together, Hard Rock Cafe's got your back. For more info, hit up hardrockcafe.com.
I'm Lisa Thomas Laurie. If you're on Medicare, I've got great news. Keystone 65 HMO plans from Independence Blue Cross have earned 5 stars, Medicare's highest rating for 2022. Some plans have no monthly premiums, no deductibles, and no copays for primary care visits and some prescription drugs. Don't wait. Visit ibxmedicare.com/star.
Every year, Medicare evaluates plans based on a 5-star rating system. Keystone 65 offers HMO plans with a Medicare contract. Enrollment in Keystone 65 Medicare Advantage plans depends on contract renewal. This is a paid endorsement.
A truly unique dining experience awaits you at Fogo de Chão. Fogo de Chão awes patrons with their history and tradition of authentic Brazilian steakhouse, offering many cuts of decadent fire-roasted meats prepared over an open fire and served tableside by trained gaucho chefs. Currently featuring a holiday promotion. If you reserve your party now, your guests are rewarded with 2 gifts of your choosing. Contract required. Fogo de Chão, 1337 Chestnut Street in Center City, Philadelphia. For reservations, go to www.fogo.com or call 215-636-9700.
Fall into relaxation at Hand and Stone Massage and Facial Spa. For an introductory price of just $69.95, enjoy the tranquility of their massage services and the rejuvenating glow their facial services provide. They even have specialty services such as a pumpkin facial or their signature hot stone massage. Restore, relax, and reset at one of Hand and Stone's 57 locations in Delaware, South Jersey, and Philadelphia, including the Lehigh Valley. For an introductory price of just $69.95. Call or book online at handandstone.com. Restrictions apply. See spa for details.
We now return to the Hard Rock Cafe, Philadelphia in downtown Center City for the Independence Blue Cross Monday Night Kickoff Show. Once again, here are your hosts, Paul Jolovitz and Paul Domowitch.
Make sure you drop your entries for the Packers-Eagles tickets in the bin and join us here at the Hard Rock for live entertainment in the cafe every Wednesday. Enjoy some great food and drink specials, our happy hour drink specials, every Wednesday here at the Hard Rock from 5 to 7. Anybody who was watching the game yesterday, and that's probably pretty much everybody in Philadelphia, as the Phillies were off. Mike, I was honored enough to be part of your well-oiled machine in the booth for many years and wish I still was. But Tony Romo and Jim Nance and Merrill are good buddies. Gave a shout-out to Merrill, and then the cameraman took a shot of your booth, Billy Wendell and Terry Small and Joe McPeak and you and Merrill, and talked about it's your 25th year. It's Merrill's 46th year. That's their favorite radio combination, the NFL.
That's a long time.
Yeah, it is a long time. You talked about your phone blowing up. Yours and Merrill, you guys are all business. You don't look much, but you're human. And it's nice to get love like that, and especially from a national broadcast. What did that do to you? What today? How much have you talked about that a little bit?
I've talked about that a lot today because, as I told you guys off air, that when it happened, I could feel my phone buzzing a lot. And when I finally looked, I had 30 text messages, people watching the telecast and seeing that Nance and Tony Romo shouted us out, talked about us a little bit. And it was pretty cool. But we had lunch with Jim Nance the day before. And so we had a really good conversation just about his career, his road that he's traveled, and Merrill's, and we just had a lot of conversation about what we had done over the years, and about where we are right now. And I wasn't surprised when it happened. I wasn't looking for it to happen, but it was kind of at the end of the game, and I wasn't even thinking about it. But then you know, with my phone buzzing, and Merrill never gets distracted. But I saw him distracted, and he kept he kept looking at his phone, and that was why, because all of the people that had watched and listened to Nance and Romo shouting us out, they were sending their messages to us.
Tom, I don't know if you know Jim Nance or not, but you've been around the block a few times. A hell of a nice guy and a better person than he is a broadcaster. He's a tremendous broadcaster. You get a chance to know those guys at all?
I know Tony a little better than Jim, but yeah, they're both good guys. You know, it's funny when they showed the shot of the booth, my wife was sitting there watching the game with me, and you know, Warrendale's in the front row, and she had never met Billy. You know, I had the good fortune to travel back and forth to Canton with him in my car forever, and she says, "What's Jeffrey Lurie doing in the broadcast booth?" I says, "What?" I said, "No. That's Billy Warrendale."
Yeah, a legend in his own mind.
A legend in his own mind, that's right. Billy spots for Merrill, and you guys take care of it. Terry Small with the stats. Here's the
before we go any further, I just want to tell Mike how much I appreciate him coming here today, because he calls me yesterday, I think, and tells me that he had 2 tickets for the Phillies game tonight, and as it turns out, they may not be any good.
They may not work out tonight anyway.
But he said, "I'm going to be there with you guys."
Yeah,
we appreciate it, Mike. We appreciate it very much.
You know, that was hard for me to say no. I got a call from a good friend of mine. He said, "Hey, I got tickets in the box. You know, where you get pampered and you can really all of that good stuff." And I said, "Well, I've made this commitment already, and I have to stick by my commitment."
You did it because you get all you can eat here too, and you love the Hard Rock Cafes.
But the problem with that is I don't eat very much. So.
Well, life's about choices, and you made one, and we're glad you did. Really appreciate it. Eagles made some choices with the trade deadline coming up. A lot of people think they're going to get this.
Did they make another move yet?
Not yet, but they got Robert Quinn last week, a 4th-round pick for 32-year-old defensive end that only had 18 sacks last year. Moved him right in the lineup, played a bunch of snaps yesterday with Barnett out for the year. I think that was a terrific move by Howie Roseman. What are your thoughts?
I just think that Howie, over the past couple of years, has been the best personnel guy in all of football. Now, there are times when I, like many of us, would give it to Howie because I didn't think that he did make the right moves, smart moves, and you know, when I don't like it and I don't think it's what they should do, then I don't have a problem with saying it. But over the last couple of years, I think he's been the best in the business. And this time of year, when you need to fill particular spots, he's magic. Yeah. He makes a lot of great moves at the right times, and especially when, like now, when you have this real trade deadline. You think back just a few years ago, there are not many trades in the National Football League. Oh. But now you see trades a whole lot more. And, you know, I think back, what's the kid's name that he picked up right in the 2017 season when they won it all?
J.J.
Not J.J. Well, J.J. is one of them, but I'm thinking about the defensive player who's a slot corner.
Oh, right. They picked him up, I think, late in
before
the beginning of the season.
But he in the playoffs was outstanding. I think he got
from New Orleans, right?
Oh, what is the kid's?
I can't think of his name.
But but those types of moves is what Howie's really good at doing. And I thought, if you even look at further back, the offseason, the draft, as well as the acquisitions. You know, look at Kazir White and what he's added to the Hassan Riddick and what he's added to this defense. The safety that he got from New Orleans.
C.J. Gardner-Johnson.
And then the crowning piece,
A.J.
Brown.
They were all perfect fits to what they wanted to do. Having Jonathan Gannon a year with these guys and understanding strengths, weaknesses, and what he needed, I think they went out and got exactly what he needed for that side of the football. And the big kid that they drafted in the first round out of Georgia,
who got hurt yesterday.
He was hurt yesterday, but he just fits. He fits what you want to do. You want to change things up on the defensive front. You want to have a dominant guy in the middle of that defense. He could be a dominant player for a long time in the middle of that defense.
Well, they have long believed that you build a team from inside out. You get those,
no question.
You solidify those lines.
The accordion.
And, you know, and I mean, they've got probably the best offensive line in the business, and
Yep.
you know, the offseason moves they've made to get Reddick, to add Jordan Davis. I mean, that's and then now adding Robert Quinn.
Yeah.
I mean, they've got depth on that defensive line.
All right, question for you, Mike, kind of out of left field here. It's Halloween. Happy trick-or-treat, everybody, if you're going out.
Trick-or-treat.
Obviously, love giving little kids candy. Apparently, the fans won't get the candy at the baseball game tonight, but we'll see about that. Pete Carroll, Mike, we kind of tend to go off on beaten paths sometimes here on our show, and Pete Carroll said that he hated the fact that he had a couple guys go down with non-contact injuries last week in the L.A. SoFi Stadium, $5 billion stadium. You figure out how to put grass in there. Arizona has a retractable field, not a retractable roof. They have that too. But what's your opinion? Pete Carroll said everything should be played on grass. The NFL has a lot of money, enough money, that you had the product should be played on a surface which doesn't harm the players to the ultimate extent possible. What do you think about every stadium having grass and what Pete Carroll said?
I agree with him. I agree because the industry is too rich in all of its resources. In all of these teams, they are rich in so many ways. It's not a big ask to grow grass, to grow natural grass. And I know that there's a lot that goes into it, but there's enough technology and enough bright people to grow grass.
Yeah, they can. I mean, they just slide it in and out now, like they do in Arizona.
Arizona's whole field comes
Well,
out
in
of the
Arizona,
stadium.
you got to think about the climate there too. They don't get the weather that we get here, and once you get to November, December, and you still need grass November, December, January, in some instances.
You know, I thought you were going to say that the best surface you ever played on was that artificial turf at the Vet.
At the Vet? Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. 32nd in
Well,
the league. They replaced
I
it. It
will
was
say
voted
this.
32nd in the league still.
Yeah, it was terrible, but hey, it was home for me. It worked.
That's right.
What's home for you now is the broadcast booth, and you talk about the Eagles and Nick Sirianni coaches his team. It seems like he is a young guy, but he's got, with him and Shane Steichen, their play calling, Mike, they got people confused with guys in motion, guys moving. Zach Pascal, the old don't cover Zach trick didn't work for Pittsburgh yesterday as Jalen threw the ball to a wide open. It seems like their offense is a well-oiled machine that's confusing the heck out of a lot of smart people. Why is that?
Well, it's a hard offense to defend. And, you know, there are other teams that run the RPO, but I don't think anyone makes the decisions and process what's happening on the other side and making the correct decision any more than Jalen Hurts does. And the fact that he can, when he needs to, tuck it and run. He didn't have to do it many times in the game yesterday, and you don't want to see him do it very much. But when you look at the decision that he makes each and every time and the way he's able to process what's happening on the defensive side of the ball and when to give it to his dive back, when to pull it and throw it to the outside, when to tuck it and run, he's really good at it. And it's for a defense, and especially if you don't see this on a regular basis, you can't defend it. If you play zone coverage against it, you're going to lose in zone coverage because he can usually run and take you apart. If you play man coverage against it, you're going to – whatever you do, that offense can prove you wrong when they're doing everything the right way.
Damo, you work for the 33rdteam.com, a wonderful website that you write for. You say a bunch of ex-NFL guys from every walk of life get on every week and talk about this, and that, and the other. Is one of the things that gets talked about how fluid the Eagle offense is. Obviously, they're 7-0. People wonder why. They're obviously a terrific offense, but I think they're playing above their talent level, if that's possible. It seems brilliant to me how they get people open, and Dallas got it with his little tight end screens. Anybody ever bring that up?
You know, I mean, not specifically as far as, you know, spending a lot of time on it, but yeah, I mean, you just watch the broadcast and listen to Romo talk about it and listen to, you know, a lot of ex-players. It's fun to watch. I mean, you kind of get the same feeling when you watch Andy these days in the Chiefs offense.
Yes.
It's just that it's like they're a step ahead of the defense. You know, just when you think you know what they're going to do, they do something else. Like that pass yesterday where Goddard sneaks off the line.
Yeah.
Everybody rolls right.
Yeah.
He sneaks off wide open.
Yeah.
And Jalen just dumps it off to him.
There's always seems to be a progression now, and I didn't see this early in this offense, but now I'm starting to see it more and more. There was a one pass, and it was the last touchdown that Devontae Smith caught. and it was down in the red zone, and not this game, but the previous game. Right. They had been hitting this route to the flat every time it goes to the flat. But the next time, he steps to the inside like he's going to do that mesh or pick, and he slides into the end zone, and he's wide open. Yeah. There seems to be like an extra element now. Every time it looks like, okay, this is what they do, and we can shut it down, then they add a little bit more, another little wrinkle to it, and that makes the difference. Yeah.
We got to take a break, Mike, but I have one question before that. Andy Reid has been investigated by the FBI and plenty of law enforcement for drawing mustaches on his players' faces during team flights.
I didn't know where you were going with that. Good
you
grief.
Already have a mustache.
You usually never do with him.
Is that one of the best commercials we've seen in a long time?
Yeah, well.
For people who didn't know that Andy Reid had that side, it is brilliant to me. You like it, Donald?
It's pretty cool.
I do. Especially when at the end, when Mahomes comes down the aisle and he throws the pen and says, "I'm going to get to the bottom."
I'm going to get to the bottom of this.
Yeah. Good stuff.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
We got plenty of good stuff here at the Hard Rock Cafe. Friday Night Live has live music every Friday from 6 to 9 p.m. No cover, the best local artists on the main stage every week. Make your reservations, and for everything the Hard Rock Cafe does, www.hardrock.com. Check out the Philly store. That's where we are with the Independence Blue Cross Monday Night Kickoff. Plenty of people here, plenty of people wondering about the World Series. We have not gotten any alerts yet. Why would we? The game's in an hour and a half. Fans get screwed.
They're
Who
not
cares?
playing.
I don't think they're playing either, but it's all for TV. Again, Don Ohlmeyer, we've mentioned this before. Don Ohlmeyer, the former head of NBC Sports, said prophetically, if the question's about sports, the answer is money, no matter what. That fits in here. Back with the Blue Cross Monday Night Kickoff right after this.
Hard Rock Cafe in Center City has it all. Great food, free live entertainment on Friday nights, and they're the epicenter for special occasions. Let them rock and roll to you with catering for your next gathering, or book a private event space for your band's next meeting. Whether it's lunch, dinner, or late night, let them turn it up at Hard Rock Cafe at 12th and Market Street. For more info, visit hardrockcafe.com.
I'm Lisa Thomas Laurie. If you're on Medicare, I've got great news. Keystone 65 HMO plans from Independence Blue Cross have earned 5 stars, Medicare's highest rating for 2022. Some plans have no monthly premiums, no deductibles, and no copays for primary care visits and some prescription drugs. Don't wait. Visit ibxmedicare.com/star.
Every year, Medicare evaluates plans based on a 5-star rating system. Keystone 65 offers HMO plans with a Medicare contract. Enrollment in Keystone 65 Medicare Advantage plans depends on contract renewal. This is a paid endorsement.
A truly unique dining experience awaits you at Fogo de Chão. Fogo de Chão awes patrons with their history and tradition of authentic Brazilian steakhouse, offering many cuts of decadent fire-roasted meats prepared over an open fire and served tableside by trained gaucho chefs. Currently featuring a holiday promotion. If you reserve your party now, your guests are rewarded with 2 gifts of your choosing. Contract required. Fogo de Chão, 1337 Chestnut Street in Center City, Philadelphia. For reservations, go to www.fogo.com or call 215-636-9700.
Don't hang out alone in the man cave this football season. Hang out at Cheerleaders with sexy entertainers, $4 Miller Lights, Jameson specials, and awesome game day prizes during all Sunday and Monday football games. Stop in before, during, or after the game to see your favorite entertainers and your chance to win an awesome game day prize. The most epic game day experience is at Cheerleaders Gentlemen's Club, where champions play. Open daily from noon till 2 a.m.
We now return to the Hard Rock Cafe, Philadelphia in downtown Center City for the Independence Blue Cross Monday Night Kickoff Show. Once again, here are your hosts, Paul Jolovitz and Paul Domowitch.
All righty, here from the Hard Rock. Welcome back to the Independence Blue Cross Monday Night Kickoff, live from the Hard Rock Cafe, Philly. Don't forget, you can watch the show live at WBCBSports.com and Facebook Live by searching WBCB Sports. Remind you one more time, we have a pair of Eagles tickets for the Packers game, Eagles-Packers, Sunday Night Football, Sunday, November 27th, the Sunday after Thanksgiving. No purchase necessary. Just submit your name, phone number, and email, or your business card for a chance to win. Buckets right up here. Take a shot at it with Paul Domowitch and our guest, Mike Quick. Guys, I'm kind of jealous.
Wait, where do you submit it?
Right here.
Right here?
Right in front, yep.
All right.
A little bucket.
You want to take
Business
a shot?
card?
Yep. Mike Quick business card. You may win and get a chance to be in the booth No, never mind. I'm not going to go down that
Yeah.
road. Yeah, let's just.
People lining up to get in the booth with us.
Yep.
Come on, man.
I have no children. I've been married for 23 years, but I have no children. Both you guys have the privilege and
Would
the
you like
pleasure.
some?
Well, never mind. There's a couple lines.
Look,
sipping through.
this guy out here just pointed to all of his kids.
There we are. Then we got costumes here, all kinds of great stuff on Halloween. But you guys both had the pleasure of having a couple people call you Grandpa. Obviously, life deals us many things. Athletes, sports is part of your lives. Damo's a writer. But how excited are you when a little peanut face that may be trick-or-treating now or in a couple of years calls you Grandpa? It has to melt you guys both, doesn't it?
It's great, and the fact that you can, they go home at the end of the day rather
All the responsibility, all the fun, none of the responsibility, right?
I mean, my 14-month-old started walking this week, and it was
Wow.
like,
That's
it's
fun.
just like really cool.
Did you see the first step?
On video, he was actually at my other daughter's house. She was babysitting that day, but these days you can see everything on video in seconds. So.
Yeah.
We got some little wide receivers coming, Mike?
No, I have two granddaughters.
Okay.
So I raised all boys. I got 4 boys, and my son Ronson and his wife, they're in Swedesboro. And they have 2 little girls, and it's the absolute best.
Yeah.
I said, man, if I could have had this without having you, then I would just skip. I would have skipped you and just gone to the grandkids. Like, no, it don't work like that.
I say to my father all the time, my parents, if I divorced my wife, Amy, will you ever talk to her again? They said, yes, but we'll never talk to you again.
Right.
So,
Dude, there's nothing like when I walk in and she sees me and she goes, Poppy, and throws her hands up for Poppy. It's like I just melt.
Yeah.
because you're human, and that's what they do, and that's why life is so wonderful and what it does. Obviously, lots to talk about the Philadelphia Eagles. The NFC East, which is now the NFC Beast, got down a peg yesterday. The Giants got beat by the Seahawks pretty good in Seattle. Cowboys beat the Bears. Eagles are 7-0. Both those 6-2. The Commanders won yesterday, but forget about them. Too many links to make up.
The Giants have been impressive.
They have.
The Giants have impressed me. They really have. It's not like I don't think it's at all like a fluke or just by chance. The NFC East is just a lot better right now. Yeah. And the quarterback, and so the reason why New York is so much better now, 2 things.
Brian Dable.
Well, Brian Gable, well, there are a couple of things. They got healthy Saquon Barkley. Their quarterback is so much better than he was. Yeah. He has grown so much.
Tom, were you a Daniel Jones fan? Merrill loves him.
Yeah. Well,
I was never a Daniel Jones fan. Yeah. But I'm watching what Daniel Jones is doing this year. He is a much better quarterback. Yeah. It helps to have Saquon and a healthy Saquon.
Exactly.
But
yeah.
But you take it to the top, and you mentioned it first, Gable. They've got a good coach now, and a coach that can relate to these players, and that matters a whole lot.
And a good defense.
Yeah.
But, I think if you can stop Saquon, and you can because that offensive line is still a work in progress.
Yes.
That just kind of screws. I mean, they're not an explosive offense to begin with. I mean, Daniel Jones is getting better every day, but he's got no wide receivers. I mean, and they traded one. I mean, which made no sense to me to trade. What was it? Kadarius Toney.
I didn't get that. The first round last year.
Yeah.
I guess because the haul they got for him, they figured they're not going to use him. He was drafted by a different regime, but that one is a head scratcher.
They clearly had a different opinion of him.
He's a headache.
Yeah.
Must be.
His problem is that he's a headache. He's a talented guy, but he's a headache.
Well,
and when you look at players like that, somehow Andy Reid can work with them.
Yeah.
And Andy Reid can get a lot out of them, the best out of them, when a lot of coaches can't.
Yeah.
That's been like one of Andy Reid's things throughout his career.
Did you ever work with a coach who you just didn't like, that you wouldn't do stuff for and didn't progress like you should have? Then you got another coach who pushed the right buttons with you. I know it's hard to admit that you, as a human being, are affected by others in different ways, but did you ever have a coach you didn't like, one that you did like with the
No, I mean, I liked them. I mean, realize that they don't know what the heck they're doing, but I didn't dislike them because they didn't know it.
Buddy, right?
I didn't dislike them because I felt like they didn't really know what the heck they were doing.
Didn't realize offense was part of the game, I guess.
Yeah, we all have issues.
All right, here's one of the issues the Eagles have. And Damo, you mentioned Howie, and obviously we look at Howie at the trade deadline. Jalen Hurts is going to get paid some big money at the end of this year, barring something that we don't anticipate now. Could be in conversation for the MVP. I don't really care about individual awards, but he might be, which tells you the level he's held to around the NFL. And if he keeps going like this, they're going to pay him $40 million, $45 million a year. They're going to structure it to help the Eagles, obviously. But when you pay your rookie quarterback the second contract, you have to lose a lot of luxuries that you have now. Your Hassan Reddicks or so. You got to pick and choose. Miles Sanders, Mike, is in his fourth year. He was not a first-round draft pick, so he doesn't have the fifth-year contract. You have to make a decision on him now. Either of you guys, has he done enough? If he asks for big money, obviously it matters how much he asks for, what they're willing to give. Make a long story short, do you expect Miles Sanders on this team next year?
Yeah, that's a real good one.
Yeah, I don't. Just because, I don't think they prioritize running back that high. They feel, and they're not alone. Look around the league. It'll be interesting this year because Miles is one of several players of his talent level who are going to become free agents, and they're all probably thinking they're just going to cash in big time, and that may not be the case. So,
they're not.
I don't think they are.
You pay a top flight receiver much faster than you're going to pay a running back. You pay a pass rusher much quicker than you're going to pay a running back. There are certain positions now that are priorities for every team just because of the way the game is played now. Yeah. The game is not played like in the 80s when I came into the league and it was Wilbert Montgomery left, Wilbert Montgomery right, and then on third down you're going to throw the ball. Yeah. It's a completely different game now. It's most teams now are 60, 70% 11 personnel or 3 wide receivers. There's 60, 70% 3 wide receivers on the field to start the game.
All right, Mike. Honest question for you. Dr. Fletcher, our show doctor, you talk about how the game is different. A.J. Brown got paid $25 million or thereabouts this year. Wide receiver salaries been going berserk with Tyreek Hill and the like. You always ask yesterday's athletes that they're upset at today's salaries. And are you?
What?
Do you wish you were playing today and making gazillions of dollars?
No.
You've done fine with yourself, but
no.
No? Why not?
Why would I?
Because you can make $25 million a year.
Man, I'm living the dream.
You were good enough to make more than
Are you kidding? I'm living the dream. I am living the dream.
And Jim Solano was his agent, so he's taken what he made in his era and turned it into billions.
I've been very fortunate. I've been lucky.
It's tremendous to hear that.
I've been fortunate, and I have, dude. For these kids who are making $25 million, all the best to them. I hope that it doesn't choke them. Too many times you see a lot of this happen for people who aren't ready for it, and it just will choke them, and they just end up like a worse person than they started out being because of the money. Yeah. That's not a good thing. I wouldn't want to be in this era and have that type of luxury of cash and all the things that come with it.
Well, that's refreshing to hear, isn't it? Seriously.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's real, man. Listen, I'm happy where I am. I'm very fortunate. I had a great career. I'm living the dream and doing what I do now, and life is good. But I would love to see these guys make as much as they can make. I'm not bitter about what they make. I don't think that – I'm happy to see it. I love the game. I love the game when I played. I love what the game was able to do for me. And, dude, I'm there. I don't think about – I used to listen to these guys, and they're all pissed off about how much guys are making today. And like, in my day, like, yeah, whatever. Yeah. Even in their day, to play a sport, they made a lot of money. I don't care what era it was. To go out and play a sport that you loved and you played when you were a kid, and then you get to the point where you actually get paid to do that? Come on, man.
As a guy who has been in NFL locker rooms for 40-plus years, I can honestly say that the players were so much happier in Mike's era than they are today.
We had fun.
Because now it's a business. It's like,
oh, sure.
relationships are different.
Every sport, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, it was a happier time.
It was much, and everybody's now so concerned about their brand.
Yeah.
And they are on these machines, and they're putting them up everywhere, and they're doing all of this social media. Man, I'm so glad I don't have to.
Well, I was doing a show this summer on WIP. We were supposed to feel sorry that James Harden settled for $35 million this year. I'm throwing up while I'm saying that. I can't even believe it. You mentioned we got to take a final break, but before that, Mike, you've lived here for 40 years now. You talked about you've been here. You've had a great career. You're a Philadelphian now. I didn't grow up here either. I came to college and I've stayed the same time you have. How much of a 4-for-4 Philly fan have you become? You obviously turned down World Series tickets tonight. You love baseball. Are you a 4-for-4 guy? And what's your favorite sport if you're not?
My favorite sport is probably basketball, and I've always, I grew up in basketball country in North Carolina.
You had to play.
And I played basketball, and my brothers played basketball. I have 5 older brothers. We all so I really was a basketball guy. But I realized that I probably should stay with football. I can outrun people.
It worked out.
I can catch a ball. I can outrun people. Let me just do that. So I decided to do that. And at 6'3", and I was a scorer. I was a 2-guard. There are not any 6'3" 2-guards in the NBA. They got 6'8" point guards in the NBA.
Tom, do they have any 5'10" point guards?
Hey, come on.
Not anymore. What?
I'm
Muggsy
6 foot,
Bogues.
okay?
Are you 6 feet?
6 foot, okay?
I may have shrunk with age.
Jeez.
All right. I'll go back and tell you what a Scott told me in high school. I thought I was a pretty good high school baseball player. Asked Scott if he thought I had a shot at being drafted. He told me, looked me right in the eye and said, "You're kind of lacking one talent one tool that we look for." I said,
talent.
"What's that?" He said, "Talent," which pushed me into broadcasting, which is where we are now. Taking a final break, the Independence Blue Cross Monday Night Kickoff. We'll try to find out the baseball games being played. That apparently is known by no one, nowhere, no alerts on the phone. What doesn't come on the phone these days? That. But we're back, and we'll find out for you right after this.
Hard Rock Cafe has it all. Great food takes center stage as they tune up your visit with free live music every Friday night at 6. Sponsored by Conshohocken Brewing Company. See Philly's best rocking the main stage while you enjoy Hard Rock favorites right here in Center City. Pickup, delivery, and catering available. For more info, visit hardrockcafe.com.
I'm Lisa Thomas Laurie. If you're on Medicare, I've got great news. Keystone 65 HMO plans from Independence Blue Cross have earned 5 stars, Medicare's highest rating for 2022. Some plans have no monthly premiums, no deductibles, and no copays for primary care visits and some prescription drugs. Don't wait. Visit ibxmedicare.com/star.
Every year, Medicare evaluates plans based on a 5-star rating system. Keystone 65 offers HMO plans with a Medicare contract. Enrollment in Keystone 65 Medicare Advantage plans depends on contract renewal. This is a paid endorsement.
A truly unique dining experience awaits you at Fogo de Chão. Fogo de Chão awes patrons with their history and tradition of authentic Brazilian steakhouse, offering many cuts of decadent fire-roasted meats prepared over an open fire and served tableside by trained gaucho chefs. Currently featuring a holiday promotion. If you reserve your party now, your guests are rewarded with 2 gifts of your choosing. Contract required. Fogo de Chão, 1337 Chestnut Street in Center City, Philadelphia. For reservations, go to www.fogo.com or call 215-636-9700.
Fall into relaxation at Hand and Stone Massage and Facial Spa. For an introductory price of just $69.95, enjoy the tranquility of their massage services and the rejuvenating glow their facial services provide. They even have specialty services such as a pumpkin facial or their signature hot stone massage. Restore, relax, and reset at one of Hand and Stone's 57 locations in Delaware, South Jersey, and Philadelphia, including the Lehigh Valley. For an introductory price of just $69.95. Call or book online at handandstone.com. Restrictions apply. See spa for details.
We now return to the Hard Rock Cafe, Philadelphia in downtown Center City for the Independence Blue Cross Monday Night Kickoff Show. Once again, here are your hosts, Paul Jolovitz and Paul Domowitch.
Red October is going to turn into Red November tomorrow, Green November. It's a great time to be a Philadelphia sports fan. This is the Independence Blue Cross Monday Night Kickoff. Paul Domowitch and I are here every Monday at 6 next week. Former Eagle coach Dick Vermeil. That'll be a great one. Come on down and say hi. Mike Quick this week. It doesn't get any better than that. Let's take a look around the NFL, Damo and Mike. sort of the halfway point. There is no halfway point, of course, of a 17-game schedule. Some teams have played 8, some teams have played 7. You kind of know where teams are by now. Damo, fill in the blank for me if you could. The one thing that surprised me most in the NFL, whatever that is, player, team, anything, is what this year?
Minnesota. Didn't expect them to be 6-1 right now. I don't know how much of it. I mean, one of the things we don't know with several teams is it real or is it just kind of like who they've played this early? And I mean, you could say, and so.
Wait, can I stop you for 1 second?
Sure.
Bob Nightingale, baseball writer, has tweeted out. Chris Summer, producer, gave me his phone. Game 3 has been officially postponed. Game on Tuesday. Thank you very much, Chris. So it's finally known. People in traffic can drive back home in traffic, can spend money on gas, can do whatever. Finally postponed. There'll be no baseball game tonight.
Good to
will
know.
Continue. Yep. Go ahead.
What was I talking
Vikings.
I didn't know.
Oh, the Vikings, yeah.
Yep.
I mean, that's probably the biggest surprise for me. I don't know about you, Mike.
I think Seattle is pretty surprising.
Yeah.
Geno Smith.
Yeah. What
true.
Geno Smith has done in Seattle to me, and for quarterbacks, you see them mature late, most of them. Every
Not
now and
that
then
late.
you get one that come. Every now and then you'll get one who comes in right away and he can light it up and can sustain that. But you see the growth in a Geno Smith, and he's in the perfect system for him now.
Yeah.
He's got wide receivers. He's got 2 really good wide receivers,
Yep.
too. Yeah. And I just like the way he handles that football team. And it's, he's been in a lot of places. He's grown a lot. He's learned a lot. And he's in a perfect situation. I didn't see this happening for Seattle, the way they're playing football.
Well, let me ask you the contrary to that. Damo first, then Mike. I mean, what's more surprising to you? The emergence of Geno Smith or the disappearance of Russell Wilson in Denver?
Both. But,
both.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what's going on with Wilson. I mean, I never expected that. I mean, that was a team that had one of the league's best defenses in Denver. They fired Vic Fangio basically because he didn't have a quarterback.
We got a quarterback. We got a great defense.
That's
and they
right.
suck.
Yeah, so I thought this was going to, I thought they were going to be a contender in that division. But I mean, Geno, like Mike said about what Pete Carroll's done and his offensive staff. I mean, they've made a perfect offense for Geno. It's his completion percentage is like 75%.
Highest in the league.
Yeah.
And
Dinkin and Doinkin.
Yeah, I mean, and he's got a good running game to lean on. So he's got all the pieces there.
So when you say surprising, to me, that really is impressive and surprising what happened in Seattle. And I always have to think about what's going on in Washington, man. Because I saw a picture today, and I'm going to show it to you guys. And my friend sent it to me and said it's the 3rd locker room that he's destroyed.
Carson? Well,
But
Taylor
see,
Heineke's...
now the team and guys are getting. They've got Taylor Heineke,
2
and
big comebacks.
and
in the
they're
last 2
pointing
weeks.
and they're pointing to the Heineke sign like this is my guy now.
Well, he might be. They've come back twice in the last 2 weeks.
2-0 with him, yeah.
I mean, Mike, you played, obviously, this game for a long time. I know it's impossible to give a definitive answer to this question, but talent is how much of the equation? Because obviously Taylor Heineke brings something to the table that Carson Wentz doesn't. What do you think that is? And did you ever play with a player that was great, but the A plus B didn't equal C, and somebody else that really wasn't that good, but A plus B equaled a lot more than C?
Dude, talent is only a small part of it. You really have to have a whole lot more than talent.
Yeah.
So one of the best linebackers playing this year, I do believe, is T.J. Edwards.
Yeah.
And I don't think he's one of the more talented guys.
I'm a Nakobe Dean guy, and he's been thrown to the sidelines.
Quite honestly, Nakobe Dean is a much better talent than T.J. Edwards. T.J. Edwards just has it. He's one of these kids that had to work hard for every little bit.
Undrafted.
And Wisconsin, undrafted out of Wisconsin. Nobody wanted him. Even going to Wisconsin, not much fanfare at all, had to earn his spot in Wisconsin. But he comes into the league, and he's just gotten better and better and better. And he's not a great athlete, but he's smart. He's diligent in his work. He doesn't make mistakes, and he plays his tail off.
How much do you think the arrival of Nakobe Dean impacted him? I mean,
yes.
and, you know, how personally he took it, and I mean, what's amazed me about him is I didn't think he could play on passing downs. I mean, I like the way he played on first down.
I get it.
I just didn't think there was any way, and he can.
He's not that talented, but he doesn't waste steps.
Yeah.
He's always anticipating because he's smart, he's studied, he understands, and he's going to make that right step, right time, and break up passes because he's just a baller. He's a smart football player and not a great talent.
It's interesting because you talk about ceilings and floors. I talk about Reese Hoskins all the time as a guy that has a very high ceiling, the guy that hits home runs in bunches and gets hot, and a very low floor, the guy that drops throws that your dad would catch in his 80s. T.J. Edwards seems to have a very high floor and a kind of low ceiling, but you kind of know where you're going to get. Is that fair, Mike?
I think he has a higher ceiling than most realize.
Okay.
I just think the way he's playing is at a different level right now.
All right, two guys. We only have a couple minutes, and Damo, you first on this one. I want to get to this. Everybody throwing dirt on the graves, so to speak, of Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady, who got lumped in together. Obviously, it's ridiculous, but this is a team sport. This isn't Tiger Woods getting hurt. It's not about Pete Sampras, whatever, the U.S. Open, or Roger Federer. It's a team sport. Aaron Rodgers has a questionable receiving crew. Tom Brady has a questionable team. They've also been part of it. To me, both of these guys have done enough and played enough to get more than a couple weeks of subpar play before dirt's thrown in the grave. Your point of view about Brady and Rodgers?
Well, I mean, you're right, but neither one. I don't think either one of those teams that they are the quarterback for is going to be bouncing back anytime soon because of some of the things you said. I mean, I don't know what's going on with, I mean, Tampa Bay doesn't want to run the ball. They seem just completely out of whack. Aaron Rodgers has no trust in his receivers.
It's a great example of when we do predictions of games in May when the schedule comes out, or April. Green Bay looked like a brutal game at home Sunday night. Now it looks like a cakewalk. And that happens a couple games a year to every team.
Well, if you watch that game last night, I mean, nothing's going to be a cakewalk against Green Bay. I mean, they could pound the ball with Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon. They lost 2 linebackers last night. That's going to obviously hurt their defense.
Yep.
But I don't think that's going to ever be a gimme game. I mean, they only lost by 10 last night. They came back against Buffalo. I mean, Buffalo's head and shoulders up there with the Eagles and Kansas City, I think, right now in kind of a separate bubble. But
is Brady done, Mike?
As much as we think Tom Brady can play forever, he can't.
He can't, no.
He can't, and I think he's at the point now where he's proven it. I would say this, and I think I'm right. Tom Brady has done a lot more with less talent around him, less of a roster of players with his offense. He's done a whole lot more than he's doing right now.
You talking about Tampa Bay in general, his whole career? You only had Randy Moss, the only great receiver.
No, I'm talking
exactly.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
In New England, he had lesser rosters and did a whole lot more. I just don't think that he's going to last much longer. There's a shelf life for everybody. Father Time is undefeated. Yeah. And he, at this point in his life, with all that he has going on in his life outside of football, I just think it's way too much for him to really get focused. When you see a quarterback and he's first of all, he's not at all the practices himself, but then he's going to go on the sideline and just chew his lineman out the way he chewed him out.
Yep.
He's got too many issues going on.
Yeah. All right, Tom, we got to say goodnight. We have a time commitment, and there's no World Series game tonight. Eagles play Thursday night. We will not be here Friday. We'll be here next Monday night with our guest, Coach Dick Vermeil.
Whoa.
Should be an interesting game.
Should
be
be
an
fun.
Interesting show. Absolutely. Yeah. Damo, thanks as always. Great job.
Been a pleasure being here again with you, Jolly.
Thank you, and Mike. It's a pleasure and honor working in the booth with you, and you are wonderful at everything you do. Continued luck in all facets of life, buddy.
Thank you, man.
Thanks again for coming.
Enjoyed being with you guys.
Thank you very much. Thanks to everybody who came out for this show. Chris Summer produced it. Keith Noonan back at the station. Thanks to both of them. Merrill Reese, Matt Muir, everybody involved with WBCB. This is the Independence Blue Cross Monday Night Kickoff. See you next week, Monday night. Go Phillies. Go Eagles.
You've been listening to the Independence Blue Cross Monday Night Kickoff Show. Tonight's show is an exclusive presentation of WBCB 1490 and 107.3 FM and heard around the world at WBCB1490.com.